Okay, now let's start trying to place food and eat food. For that, we're going to need a food position. So we'll have food position start out, say, at, 2, okay, row, col. We're not going to hard code this, we're just doing it for now. And then naturally, we'd have to, after we draw the snake, we can draw the food, app, canvas. And that's going to look suspiciously like draw snake, actually. So we'll just go ahead and do this. We'll go here. And here we'll say our row and column equals our food position. Remember, the food position is a pair of row col. Get the bounds of that row and column, and then create an oval there, but we'll make it food colored, say green. And now I'll look up, whoops, except draw food is not defined because I didn't rename that as draw food. Cool, draw food. And now we have food, and every time I hit R, it stays the same because we're hard coding it. Okay, and also, if I go through the food, we don't eat it because we haven't done that. Cool. So now let's randomly place the food instead of hard coding it. So what we're going to do is instead of hard coding it here, we're going to actually call place food, which will be a function that places the food randomly. So place food takes the app, and what we'll do is very simplistic. We'll just try random positions, and we'll just keep doing that until we find one that's not in the snake, okay? So forever, do the following. Pick a random row, and the way you do that is with random.randint. We start at 0, and you go up to the number of rows, but randint is inclusive, so you have to do rows minus 1. And col is random.randint 0, cols minus 1. And now we have a random row and col. Of course, you have to import random. Cool. And then we're done if this is not in the snake. So if that position is not in the snake, because remember, the snake is a list of row calls. If the one we chose is not in the snake, then we can set the food position to be the tuple of that row and col, and then we're done, so we can return. We can also break here, to tell you the truth, because that would fall out of the while loop, and then return. So now we're placing the food, and when we run this, we see the food is randomly placed, and every time I hit R, it restarts the game, and the food is randomly placed each time, which is great, and it never lands on the snake. Now, this is not the best way because we may have to loop a long time looking randomly. Say there's only 2 spots left. We could be smarter about it, but this works plenty fine for our purposes. Also, if there's no spots left, this will be an infinite loop, but we could detect that somewhere else and just say if the snake fills the board, you win. That seems unlikely. Anyway, okay, now if I move, I just went over the food, but I didn't eat it because we're not checking if we ate it, okay? So let's go ahead not only and place the food, let's go ahead and eat the food, okay? Well, where do we eat food? We don't eat food when we change our direction. We eat food when we take a step, okay? So when we take a step, right here, we just extended the snake to include the new head, okay? So whatever is going to happen is going to happen right there, okay? So actually, it's right there that we remove the old tail. But it seems like you only want to remove the tail if we didn't eat food. If we did eat food, you want to leave that and let the snake actually grow. How do we know if we just ate food? We ate food if the position of the food is the new head. New row and new col were the new head. And if that is the food position, then we just ate the food. What do you want to do if you ate the food? You don't want to, let's say, so we ate the food. We ate the food. What you don't want to do is remove the tail. If we didn't eat the food, remove the tail, just like we've been doing. But if we ate the food, leave the tail alone. But we do have to place new food, okay? So now, as you see this, I'll do left, up, up. We ate it and got new food. Let's go over here, down, 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 down. There we go. Cool. While we're at it, watch. If I run into myself, down, and run into myself, the snake right now won't die when it runs into itself, so we will actually add that as well. So right here, what's going on? We test when you take a step if you went off the board. If you go off the board, you lose. There was one other case we actually had to handle. and that was if we ran into ourselves. And we ran into ourselves, or we run into ourselves if what? We run into ourselves if the new position that we went to is in the snake already. So if new row, new call is in the snake, that would mean that we just ran off the board, that we just ran into ourselves. And if we ran into ourselves, we should die as well. So watch, I'm gonna go left, down, I'll go up, game over. Cool, awesome. So now we have food, and we can eat the food. And if I run into myself, right, I'll go up and we die. Cool, so we're actually getting very close to being done.